All right, welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Hold on a second, it's a little loud. Today's May 11th, Saturday, 2024. We are doing a follow-up on the solar storm event that is still in progress. Right now, our solar wind speeds are coming in at 805.4 kilometers per second, with a density much less than last night's. We are now at 3.42. If you guys remember, we were at 27.5 for density. It actually reached as high as in the mid 30s as well. Sunspot number 156 as 3664 is turning to the western part of the western limb of our sun. Take a look at what is going on in the eastern limb. If I'm not mistaken, and if I am mistaken, somebody correct me here, but I'm pretty sure that these sunspots right here that are getting ready to merge and become Earth facing soon, I'm almost positive these are the same two sunspots that created the twin X-class flares. And just in case if y'all didn't know, we did experience another X-class 5.8 solar flare last night right after our broadcast. Positive these are the same. And again, this is part of the reason why we will probably see these storms all the way through this weekend on Sunday, Mother's Day. Right now, currently, we are at a KP of an 8.67. 24-hour max is a 9. The G5 is severe. That is where the KP is at 9. Right now, we're at a G4, which is still strong severe. But yeah, we're going to expect more of the same. And 75% chance of X-class flares still remains. So that didn't change. But the one thing that I really want to talk about that is actually kind of remarkable. I mean, this entire event is remarkable. It's one of a kind, and we haven't seen anything like this since 2003. But not only are we looking at 75% chance of X-class flares today and tomorrow from 3664, and possibly the two new sunspots that are emerging on the northeastern limb and the southeastern limb. But what's really impressive is that we are supposedly maximum, right? This is where the magnetic field should be stronger and protect us from these highly charged particle events. Well, I'm here to tell you that right now that our cosmic radiation dosage rates are at negative 6.5%. The average during solar minimum is between 8 and 11.5% negative, okay? That means we're getting a strong dosage rates of cosmic radiation. The most cosmic radiation exposure we ever had was back in June of 1991, when we had negative 32.1% of cosmic radiation dosage rates. So, in the negative means we're getting bombarded, and the positive means we're not seeing as much. And right now, we should not be in the negatives. We should be in the plus. And it's safe to report as well that we've only been in the positive just a few times when it comes to cosmic radiation dosage rates. We're talking maybe 1.5 above 0%. So, and what does that look like? Like, these particles, right, that bombard our magnetic field. What does that look like? Well, let's take a look here. Thanks to spaceweather.com, they have been kind enough to put it up on their page, and I'll get a better look at it here. Now, that is not snow in space. That all the white particles that you see here, that is from the sun. So even before, now this is the 5.8, by the way, folks, the 5.8, and then it looks like we're getting ready to have another X-class solar flare, another eruption. If you see here, let me get the arrow. Well, this is, every time I look at this right here looks like the beginning of another eruption. That could be another possible X-class flare, but this is the 5.8 X-class flare. I mean, look at the particle look at the halo explosions. Look at the constant streaming of highly charged particles. We're getting bombarded big time. So we haven't even seen the wave of particles yet on our satellites from this explosion. That's yet to come. This is still from the 5 CMEs that have been fired off one after another right at Earth. Um, so remarkable event that's taking place right now. Again, very, very, very impressive. It's a very strong storm. However, I want to stress that the possibilities of this kind of storm and strength is going to be possibility of GPS, radar, and radio communications are almost imminent. So that is facts. What is a possibility, not as a high, but a still possibility, is power grid failures as well. We did have some issues in Sweden in 2003 with the last event that was like this. So to say that we won't see any power grid issues is, not responsible. But we have been in this intense solar storm now for over 12 hours. And so far, the reports of any kind of a grid damage or power lines catching fire or anything like that has not came out yet that I've seen. So that's the good news. And this kind of gives you an idea of the strength of this storm. Yes, is it strong because of this constant X-class flares that are coming our way? Absolutely. This 5.8, we're going to know by tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow evening, we're going to feel the impacts of that by tomorrow evening. Solar wind is going to be really increased with the 5.8 X-class flare, the largest of solar cycle 25. So a lot of folks are like, well, looks like we got maximum for a little while longer, or is it just the possibility that the maximum of 25 is going out like a lion? So when we've started following solar cycles on this channel back in 2017, we were coming out of a maximum, but we never saw, we were heading into the minimum, but we never saw this kind of action. We've never observed it. So this is our first real true maximum that we've observed. And again, we talked about this years ago on this channel. The magnetosphere is still weak because of the weaker solar activity that we've experienced over the last 4 solar cycles. And it's significantly dropped in solar cycle 24. Now, this solar cycle is showing a little bulge right here, but again, the thing that we're supposed to be safe from is all of these particles, because the magnetosphere is supposed to strengthen enough to protect us from it, but it's not. Not when you have cosmic radiation dosage rates, and I'm going to go back to the space station real quick. We've got cosmic radiation dosage rates at negative 6.5%. That's minimum like dosage rates. And we're in a maximum, or we're experiencing the tail end of a maximum. Things are really, really firing up. And like I said, this could just mean that we are going out like a lion. And then we see the steep decline into the minimum by mid-2025. That's the reality right now. So lots to report on today. Try to get through this as quick as possible. Want to thank everybody for the kind comments from last night's show. I read a few comments. Some of you were concerned about some of the extreme reporting about this event. And I just want you guys to know this is the main motivation why we're back. We want to guide everyone, but in a manner that is only urgent when necessary. And again, this is a really rare event, and I'm not downplaying any of this, but so far, the grid system's holding up. We haven't had any reports of major grid problems or power outages due to this solar storm. I'm seeing minimal reports of radio blackouts and GPS and satellite issues. So far, so good, but the point is how long can the Earth continue to, endure this bombardment. And let's check. Actually, let's go ahead and refresh here at spaceweather.com. Oh my. So here we go. Breaking, solar wind speeds have now increased to 883 kilometers per second. Density is also increased to a 6.75. That has went up almost 70, let's do the math, 75 kilometers per second in just less than a half hour. So that's also going to increase cosmic radiation dosage rates, make them stronger than what we have. Still reporting at a KP of 8.67, but that I expect to change as well. Let's go to spaceweatherlive.com. They are also reporting a KP of 8. Let's refresh this page. It's been a minute. Also still at 8, but solar wind speeds just cranked up, and Space Weather Live is reporting them at 890.9 kilometers per second. So, folks, definitely earthquake watch for sure. With this kind of speeds here, the kind of density that we've seen, the duration of this geomagnetic storm, how intense it's been. This is a very remarkable event right now. It is performing pretty impressively, but again, we still haven't encountered any serious damage or any real danger yet. And I will say yet because this storm is flexing right now. I mean, picture this. Our magnetosphere is embracing the duration of 5 separate CMEs from X-class flares that all are coming this way. And then another one that will impact us, and it has the components to be Earth-facing. It will impact our magnetosphere, the 5.8, which is the strongest of this cycle and the strongest in over 20 years. So, boy, it is going out with a bang right now. Watchers does a little article on this today. Major solar flaring measuring a 5.8 eruptive from active region 3664 at 1:23 UTC on May 11th, 2024. The event started at 1:10 and ended around 1:39 UTC. It took place during a G5 extreme geomagnetic storm, producing another CME, most likely Earth-directed. Today's X58 is the second strongest solar flare in the current solar cycle. My apologies, we had a 6.3 on February 22nd. It is also the 11th X-class flare since the 1.3 on May 5th. Now think about that, 6 days. We've seen 11 solar flares that measure X-class or higher. Type 4 and 2 radio emissions were associated with the flare event, suggesting a strong coronal mass ejection was produced. Additionally, a 10-centimeter radio burst lasting 23 minutes with a peak flux of 800 SFU was associated with this event, indicating that the electromagnetic burst associated with solar flares at the 10-centimeter wavelength was also double or greater than the initial radio background. And this is kind of repeating what they had said in the previous article when we saw the first solar flare. But here's some more images, some video footage of this 5.8 X-class flare. Again, if you notice, it is trending away from Earth directed, but still, the wave, the size of this solar flare will definitely have an impact on Earth's magnetosphere. Again, G5, extreme geomagnetic storm following the CME impact, will continue today. They're talking about the same one that we were talking about. Strong CME was registered in the solar wind data beginning around 1635 UTC, reached Earth at 1656 UTC. Solar wind speeds increased sharply to 700 kilometers per second following the shock arrival, with a peak value of 741 kilometers per second. As we just reported, We have definitely seen an increase. Space Weather Live is reporting an 890 kilometers per second solar wind. Again, folks, I definitely would be shocked if we did not see some kind of seismic activity in the next 12 to 16 hours, precisely. On top of getting rocked with the G4, G5 solar storm, we're getting very strong solar winds and high impacts of highly charged particles. Cosmic radiation dosage rates tomorrow are going to be through the roof. So, again, it's something worth watching, but it is not life-threatening at this time. We are not hearing reports of power outages. We are not hearing reports of power lines catching on fire or um, damage to power grids. We are seeing a strong. I'll tell you something. I'm not gonna shy away from admitting to this. I feel it, guys. I have a headache. My ears have been ringing since last night. I mean, I can feel it. I can feel it for sure. Cosmic radiation dosage rates are high right now, considering where we are in this mess. Think about it this way: we've been flirting with zero for a while, and now we're getting these strong solar storms that are pushing more cosmic radiation exposure to us, and a lot of the health side effects with cosmic radiation exposure is headaches, anxiety, heart rhythm problems, possibly chest pains from association of a racing heart. If you're sensitive to this kind of stuff, some of you folks may be experiencing this right now. Those are the main effects right now, in my opinion. The human well-being and health right now. I've always been the one to say that, the last 10 years, we've seen some crazy things. We've seen a lot of videos online about people fighting each other, the disrespect, the open transparency of people just committing theft. Now they just walk right in and just do it. Guys, I'm telling you, the last 10 years, Earth has been bombarded with cosmic radiation dosage rates. We're still, 3 years past the minimum, and we're still receiving minimum type cosmic radiation dosage rates. So that's 8 years straight now of high dosage rates. And a lot of scientific papers out there showing that it affects the human psyche. And I fully blame all the craziness we see in this world today on the fact that they just can't handle the exposure of all these cosmic rays. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. But I've said this for years on this channel. Those of you who've been around for a while, you've heard this statement. And I'm sure there's other people out there who report on the grand solar minimum who also will share that same idea as well. That's the most serious impacts right now for folks who are sensitive to this stuff right now. And I can tell you, like I said, headache, ringing of the ear, definitely impacting myself as we speak. All right, giant hail. Again, why am I showing, pictures of stuff that has nothing to do with the solar flare? This is part of the education of this channel, where you have always heard myself, Lee, others talk about the increased hail because of the cosmic radiation in the atmosphere, the cooling. And think about the auroras that we saw last night, the beautiful pink auroras, the nitrogen that's present right now in the atmosphere, which explains why we're seeing so many severe tornado outbreaks, and the size of the hail that's coming from these particular storms. Well, when you've got purple and pink in the sky, especially purple, purple is the steroids of hailstones. The pink as well, with the nitrogen, the cooler atmosphere, and that is why we are seeing such record-breaking hailstones right now falling out of the sky. So here's one example. What is another example of a cooler atmosphere, an unstable atmosphere as well, and highly charged particles? Well, it's right here staring us in the face. That glowing green in the background, that is the energy of all of the storm and the highly charged particles that are already present in the atmosphere, because we continue to see dosage rates that belong somewhere in a minimum. So we're seeing stronger storms. They have more fuel in the atmosphere this year. That's why. Also, El Nino is taking a nosedive right into La Nina. I mean, we are neutral right now, folks. As we speak, El Nino is dead. We are actually right at baseline as we speak. And the El Nino region 1 and 2 is plummeting fast. It's dropped over a degree from its current standing in March to where it is now. So highly charged particles, again, the hail and the tornado activity, plus you can see in the sky right here. Let's scroll up a little bit, see if we got any more. In the tornado action that I've seen, the damage and the amount of, look at the size of these. I mean, these are impressive tornadoes. These are not just little tiny E1s and E2s. This year we are getting pummeled. And I'll say this, with the amount of cosmic radiation in the atmosphere right now, you know, the amount of rain that we're seeing too, on top of we have a predicted hurricane season that could be very, very, very active. Here's the historic flooding that we're seeing in Brazil. And again, why are they getting so much rain? Why is it falling so much so fast? We are getting bombarded by highly charged particles. Cosmic radiation is creating cloud nucleation. And like we've said before over and over on this channel, the highly charged particles are the substance of water vapor. They create droplets. And the more particles that we have in our atmosphere, the bigger these raindrops get. So this has nothing to do with CO2. CO2 is not a substance particle. It's a trace gas. So to think that CO2 and water vapor can grow together and make large, that's just impossible. But what is possible is cosmic radiation exposure, highly charged particles grasping the water vapor, and depending on how much cosmic radiation dosage you have in your atmosphere, we could see rain events like that. And that's why we are seeing the floods. That's why we're seeing the tornadoes. That's why we're seeing the hail. That's why we're seeing the northern lights, because right now the sun is throwing off a huge storm, a severe one. And look at the impact. And I know this channel is going to get hit with the ticket now. We're going to get the little message that says climate change is caused by CO2 and, don't listen to these guys. But we're showing you the proof, okay? We are showing you the proof. And I know it's going to trigger some folks out there, and I really don't care. Reading a nice little article here, local news channel in New York. Just because I live in New York, too, I'm going to show my state some love, even though we don't really deserve it sometimes. Yeah, beautiful state. Beautiful state. Horrible politics. It says here, New York City may be in for a treat tonight. A rare glimpse of northern lights. An unusual powerful solar storm hit Earth on Friday, producing auroras across the U.S. as far south as Florida. Guys, these images are just absolutely gorgeous. Also, if you don't see anything in your horizon tonight and it is clear out, take out your phone. Take a picture of the sky. It is being said that you will still pick up the low light gray, or the greens and the purples and the pinks. So just because you may not see it that well in your own sky with the naked eye, pull out your iPhone 15 or your Galaxy 24, whatever you have, and snap a shot of the sky and see if there's anything there. It's like playing peekaboo with us here. No thanks to cloud coverage, New York City missed out on the solar spectacle on Friday night, but the weather forecast will let up this weekend. Yes, briefly here tonight in New York, but we have rain coming after tonight. The NOAA has issued a rare severe geomagnetic storm warning when a solar outburst reached on Earth on Friday afternoon. Kind of giving out the key messages. This is rehashing yesterday's event. NOAA's prediction center said satellites observed conditions that reached a level 5 of their 5-point scale of geomagnetic activity on Friday evening. Currently, it is still G4 to G5 storms. Man, I really want to see this tonight. We had lots of clouds, so we did not see any aurora last night. Oxygen produces the green lights, the red and green lights, while nitrogen shines with pink and blue hues. So interesting. If you see your blue and your pink, it represents the same level, and that is exposing the colder atmosphere. Nitrogen cools, and if they're also including blue hue, that just intensifies. That also helps you measure the intensity of nitrogen that's in our atmosphere. Again, a cooler atmosphere, unsettled, is causing a lot of tornadic activity. On Saturday, expect clear skies throughout the day. If you haven't thrown away your eclipse sunglasses, make sure you take them outside. Sunspot clusters are so big, and they're talking about 3664, that viewers on Earth may be able to see them with the appropriate protection. Again, I don't recommend this unless you have a special H-alpha telescope. You're not really going to see it that well by putting on the eclipse glasses unless you have 20/20 vision already. Clouds will start to build up late this afternoon here in New York. Early evening, expect showers overnight. This means Aurora preppers may have the best chance of seeing the lights after sunset, shortly after twilight ends. The best Aurora views may come from phone cameras, which are better at capturing the light with the naked eye than the naked eye. Snap a picture of the sky, and there you might actually have a nice little treat for you, says Mike Betwee from Operations of NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center. By Sunday, New Yorkers will have no chance of catching northern lights. Expect storms, cool temperatures for Mother's Day. No disruptions have been reported, like I said earlier. Aside from brilliant and widespread displays of the aurora, geomagnetic storms can impact infrastructure in near-Earth orbit and on Earth's surface, potentially disrupting communications, the electric power grid, navigation, radio, and satellite operations. This particular geomagnetic storm certainly is robust enough and has the potency to possibly knock out some breakers and cause power outages. This is according to Joe Rao, an astronomer at the Hayden Planetarium. Power outages in New York City are unlikely, astronomers say, but conditions should be monitored. An extreme geomagnetic storm in 2003, for example, took out power in Sweden and damaged power transformers in southern Africa. No immediate disruptions to power and communications from this storm have been reported so far. So that has been a help to kind of tame down the narrative out there. There's folks reporting, watch out, the sky is falling. You know, that is unnecessary and not responsible, folks. Just not responsible. We have enough going on in this country, in this world. The last thing we need to do is worry about something that's false. And all I got to say is lock it into this channel, guys. When it's necessary, sure, we'll raise the red flag when there is cause for it. Are these storms very strong? Yes. These are strong geomagnetic storms. It's been going on for a while now. This has been an impressive one. Europe is getting Aurora again tonight. We're going to get him again tonight. 2 nights in a row. Just as beautiful, possibly, if not better. But with the solar wind speeds jumping up as fast as they just did, let's go back to spaceweather.com and update here and see. Nope, they've gotten faster. Space Weather Live. Let's go see them again. Taking forever. I'm sure these websites are being just overused. Everyone's on these. It's surprising it's not crashed. So right now we're almost at 809, almost 900 kilometers per second on solar wind speeds. Absolutely insane. I feel like GFS is showing us a little pattern here. Rain developing from much of the Midwest into the Northeast seems to be the weekly pattern. Multiple storms moving in. And I also believe that's going to impact the temperatures in that region as well. As you can see, really the whole country. This is the end of May right here we're watching. It's getting heated up a little bit, but this goes back to the beginning of May. We had a little bit of a warm up, and then things started cooling down again in the Northeast, staying in the 50s and 60s. Even across the Ohio Valley, 70s is nice, but we're not seeing that blazing heat that we thought we would see this month just because of the record highs. And I want to mention something about that, by the way, temperatures. We haven't mentioned it yet. And this is just to show you guys that we don't cherry pick data. But I will go over really quick the April anomaly, and that's what this is. This is an anomaly. See, can we see it? Let me move this over a little bit. There we go. Let's move it over. This is an anomaly, folks. This is a direct result from Tonga and all the moisture that was released into the atmosphere in 2022 from that volcanic eruption. And when you put sunlight on water vapor, highly charged particles, it's going to heat it up. And think of water vapor being a magnifying glass to the sun. So this is the reason why we are seeing these anomalies. We are now seeing the delayed effects of this moisture that's in the atmosphere. But I do there is an explanation that Mr. Spencer gives here, and there's indications that this new high is going to be followed, obviously, with cooling. It should be noted that the CDAS surface temperatures anomaly have been falling in the recent months. Okay, from 0.7, 0.6 to 0.53 to 0.52 degrees over Celsius. The last 4 months, while the satellite deep layer atmospheric temperature has been rising, this is usually an indication of extra heat being lost by the surface to the deep troposphere through convection. And this is what is expected due to warming El Nino event. I suspect next month's tropospheric temperatures will fall as a result. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that and see if that happens. But folks, what I'm trying to say here is the peak that we've seen of these temperatures is an anomaly. This is not the next plateau. What goes up must come down. And we've seen this here on this temperature chart here at UAH. Dr. Roy Spencer and his colleagues have done a wonderful job at mapping out global temperatures. Right now, we are experiencing an anomaly because of this maximum. And it's not an exaggeration, is it? The sun is this active. It's more intense. It's heating up this water vapor that's in our atmosphere. I mean, makes sense to me. Again, highly charged particles has more substance to create versus CO2 being a trace gas. It is not causing these flood events. It is not causing these hail events. It is not causing these tornadic events. Right now, the sun is basically fueling everything right now and pushing it. All right, let's take a look out here in the chat, see who we got. Melody, thank you again. Back-to-back nights, seeing you out there in the chat. Nice to see you as always. Looks like we have some new people out here. Jack Scruggs, good to see you out there. See if I can see anything. Old School Millennial, hello. Chris Crazy, Patricia, thank you very much for being here as well and being a mod as always. Jesse out there in Wisconsin, good to see you, sir, as well. Sue, good job, guys. Make sure we hit that like button. Looks like we got a few other familiar faces. I saw Matt Bros in here earlier. Cypher 9, hello. Heart and strokes increase during severe solar storms. I believe that is to be true. And many people, many new people as well. John Curry, Becca Loves Jesus, welcome. CC, welcome. Green Greggs, welcome. Lots of familiar faces and lots of new faces. Amy Hatch, welcome. Also has a headache with ears ringing as well. Again, this is not something we're making up here. Those are the more severe, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the most impactful right now from these storms, are people who are sensitive to this stuff. You're the ones that are suffering the most. But we are also waiting for possible seismic activity to take place as well, because the solar wind speeds, the way it's increased just now, that definitely smacked our magnetosphere. Let's check it one more time before we leave the air. Still hovering at 884 kilometers per second. Density has went down a little bit, so that's helpful. But we will keep an eye on this. Cosmic radiation dosage rates. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, so I don't know if we are going to be able to get to a show or not, but if we do, it'll be in the evening on Sunday. But I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. Please like, share, subscribe. If you feel the necessary to go over and donate to our Patreon account, please do. We definitely, the more the donations, the better we can run this channel. Some of you have noticed that the grandsolarminimum.com is not where it should be, and we have to beef up our servers, I think, because I don't think it could handle the traffic that happened last night. So we'll continue to monitor that and let you guys know when that site is back up and running. But once again, thank you to everyone who tuned in. And guys, be safe out there. Stay alert. And if we need to come back today or tonight with an update on this, we will definitely do that. But until then, take care, everybody, and we will talk soon.